Hi everyone, I'm Lisa Davis. I'm from City of Calgary and I am the Local Immigration Partnership Coordinator for CLIPs. You'll hear me use that acronym throughout. I was asked to be here today to speak about our work on creating a performance measurement framework. And although we have never met, our presentations kind of go together nicely because we have some of the same themes in the East and the West. And we've looked to some of our LIPs in the East for guidance and a direction forward. We have three significant pieces of work right now that have to do with data. So one is developing that performance measurement framework for the PNT region LIPs, but we're also creating a dashboard for the PNT region and leading a LIPs network community data program pilot. So any of you that received my email, this is me. Nice to meet you in person. So because we only have 10 minutes today, I'm just going to hit the highlights in terms of our approach to tackling these pieces of work. So when we were tasked by IRCC to lead this piece of work, we first put the call out to the LIPs in the PNT region to inquire about interests, to see if anyone wanted to join a working group to participate in the development of this framework. Subsequent to that, we scheduled teleconferences and carried out an informal self-assessment of each LIP in terms of their comfort level in working with data. We felt this was a key first step because we knew there could be a wide variety of data savviness amongst our LIP coordinators. Once we were able to ascertain what level people were working at, we created some handy-dandy tools like this Data 101 handout for LIPs. This is kind of a cheat sheet that LIP coordinators can use if they're not very savvy with data in terms of getting a handle about what types of questions to ask if data is put in front of you to be able to evaluate if it's useful, it's rigorous, it's something that can be compared or relevant to your situation. After that, we developed a performance measurement framework backgrounder. So it's much lengthier and goes into a lot more detail. And this captures some of the contextual factors, such as the deliverables in all of the LIPs contracts. We did a bit of a comparison to be able to find out what was common and what was unique. That would help us to navigate forward to know where we might be able to find common ground. Because we took the approach from the beginning that a cookie cutter, one size fits all would not work for our region. We have diversity, of course, in size. Megan is from Bow Valley, a tiny area. I'm from Calgary. There's a lot of different nuances and experiences in both, but we wanted to try isolate where there were common themes that we could use and where we would have to stand unique. And we wanted to have a model that could incorporate both. Then we put it to each of the members to inquire about what kinds of data do those LIPs need. Like, we want to hear from them instead of a top-down, we tell them what we were going to be using. We also asked them about their political needs. Is there any data that their politicians wanted, or were they getting any heat from politicians where it would be helpful to have data to advance their position? We also asked them about demographic and population indicators, what would be of value, what wouldn't, and asked whether anyone had begun the quest in terms of accessing local data. So to your point, seeking out police and schools and any other providers that perhaps you haven't done any door knocking to inquire about their data sets, that's a good avenue to do. Because as you said, oftentimes people think of Statistics Canada or some of the big data providers and kind of leave it at that. And we're wanting to kind of push the envelope a bit to have everyone out seeking data in their local communities. So we are using an RBA model, and just a quick show of hands, everyone's familiarity with results-based accountability? Somewhat, yeah. Well, I won't go into all the details today, but just to hit the highlights. RBA really is about looking at the means to improve results versus the ends themselves. So it's just a shift in perspective. I've identified a few items there that are characterized by that shift. And in the Calgary context, I'll just pull from the last one, funding pools. And I say this as a City of Calgary employee, and City is a funder, so we're as guilty of this as anyone else. But oftentimes funders can contribute to a system that is not optimally functioning. They have different priority areas, different reporting requirements, different timelines, and different expectations. Agencies can then be pulled in many different directions to please their funder and feel constrained to be innovative. And starting something new increases the risk that their funding could be in jeopardy because they know what they did previously always got funding. So in Calgary, to conquer that, we've created a collaborative immigrant funders table. So all of our funders are sitting around one table, hashing out solutions together so that they can work better as a system in terms of everyone that they're funding in the community. So as you heard in the previous presentation, population indicators can never, or population outcomes can never be conquered by a single agency alone. And that's something that's really key and we really want to emphasize throughout the presentation. We know that IRCC's push and their current move is towards demonstrating outcomes and not just outputs. Outputs, of course, are a lot easier to count and report on, so there's a lot more challenge in doing so. Through population indicators, when you have a lot of players at the table, as you heard in the previous example, when they have a dedicated approach towards working on a particular issue, proxies are identified for those desired outcomes, and they might include a variety of things related to health, well-being, income, employment, education, or housing. With the P&T performance measures task, we didn't want to start from scratch. I'm a firm believer in that. If there was good examples to draw from elsewhere in the country or otherwise, we wanted to look at them, see if we could adapt them to meet our needs. And along that same vein, we also needed a central place that we could store this information for consistency, ease of access, and comparison. Which leads us to the creation of our community dashboard for P&T. City of Calgary has had a lot of experience in the past in developing dashboards, so we were able to draw from some of our in-house expertise. And our key driver for the dashboard is that it has to be useful. We don't want reporting or data for the sake of reporting or data. It has to be something that can be applied and useful to our strategic plans, and being nimble to issues that crop up in the community. Now, there's typically 3 types of data that should be included in performance measurement. Measures collected from individuals participating in the partnership and those attending relevant activities and events. Measures collected in the broader community from those who are the target of outcomes. And third, analysis of large-scale pre-existing data sets. Now, on that line, this is where it's connected to our next piece of work, is our LIPs networks in the community data program. So the community data program, just to kind of put a quick plug in, helps address some of the barriers you just heard about in the previous presentation, where the data isn't quite the fit exactly for what you're looking for. The CDP has the benefit of being able to tailor that data when they purchase it from the data provider to do custom cross-tabulation. So you might be able to pick something like gender or country of origin, for example, and develop a customized data set. We have the option to get customized geographies, which is really key and really expensive if you try to purchase on your own directly from a data provider. But operating as a collective under the community data program, it's feasible and able to do. Outside of the data, of course, there's the value add in terms of building capacity, access to trainings, webinars, tools, and templates. We know everyone is not starting off as experts, so we want to have everyone well-equipped to undertake working with data. So we are working with IRCC right now in terms of opening up more of their data to be within the CDP catalog. And just to wrap up, the current status in a nutshell, everything's underway. So we're super busy. Leading the two pieces in the P&T region and the one national piece, we will continue to provide updates and input for our opportunities for input and engagement throughout. And anyone that wants to see more of the details for any of these initiatives, feel free to connect with me afterwards. Thanks.
Thank you, Lisa.